cats and kittens, and welcome to this episode of Feline Opinionated, where today your host Sophie is talking about George Orwell's Animal Farm. You might have heard the saying that all animals are born equal, but some are more equal than others. This was coined in 1945 by our bro George Orwell. So this book is like a really cool thing, like a really nice story to read. It's a novella, it's less than 30,000 words, so it's like really just like this nice short story to have. Because at the time, George Orwell didn't think that people would read like a full novel, and he didn't think that they'd read an essay as well, because most people find essays boring. So instead he wrote this little beast fable, as it was called by J.R.R. Tolkien, but George himself called it a fairy story. So what is Animal Farm about? Well, it's the story of a group of oppressed farm animals who live under the cruel reign of Farmer Jones. Farmer Jones doesn't feed them, he beats them, he takes all their produce, like overtakes from them, considering that he's not doing anything for them. And so the animals decide that they need to put an end to this. So how do they do this? Well, it doesn't really matter how, because you might have heard the saying that a revolution is a simple thing, and generally that is what comes with this story. Like, the revolution happens almost immediately, and they're like, oh, we really did it? It was that easy? It's like, yeah, dog, you did it. Wasn't that hard? Farmer Jones was a drunk and a douchebag, and he couldn't really fight back against a horse kicking him in the head. And it's just like, yeah, okay, I guess it was that easy. But what it also means when they say a revolution is a simple thing is that, like, yeah, okay, it's easy once you've got your, like, country or farm or whatever back, but now you have to put in the work on how you want it to change. You've got to create, like, legislature and rules and, like, rigidity. But the animals start off fairly well. They come up with the 7 animal commandments, which I have right in front of me. So whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Number 3 is that no animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. 6 is no animal shall kill any other animal. And number 7, the most important, all animals are equal. So while Farmer Jones is first gone, all the humans are looking on Animal Farm going, God, I hope it fails. Those animals suck. Ah, God. If like the other animals in our farms hear about their successes, we're doomed as a human race and we will all die. But the animals, much to their annoyance, succeed. They create a better farm than any human has ever had, all while not walking on 2 legs. Like, it's difficult at first because none of them can, like, use the farm as tools while standing on 2 legs, so they have to find new ways, they have to be innovative, they have to work on their own. And yet still, despite this, they end up bringing in double the yield of what they had under Farmer Jones, you know? They get more crops, they get to keep their eggs and therefore their children, the milk is kept. And the milk is the first point of contention where things start to go wrong. The pigs thinking themselves better than all the other animals because they can read and write very well. And some of the animals can read, but not great. And some of them just can't get, like, the idea of the alphabet in their head at all. And the pigs take the milk and the milk and the apples for themselves. And so if the animals had just kind of gone, hey dude, what you doing? Maybe we shouldn't be doing that. That's for all of us. Everything would have been okay. But instead they're like, I think that milk's, kind of mine because I'm a cow and I made it and you're a pig and you didn't. And even then, we should share it out equally. And the pigs are like, oh, no, we don't like milk. In fact, we hate milk. We hate apples. Apples taste disgusting, but it's a chore for us. Like, we're creating all your legislation. We need this because, it's so weary work to sit writing rules and regulations all day and supervising is so hard. In fact, we read a book that said that we need this more than cows do, or more than any other animal, in fact. So if you could just, like, leave us with your milk and your apples, that'd be great. We don't want to have it, we need to have it. We read it in the farmers' books, and the other animals are like, oh, well, if you read it, must be true, has to be true, and you wouldn't lie because we're not humans, we don't lie to each other, that's not how this works, and we've been working together for a year now, so you wouldn't do that. And the pig's like, score. Yeah, again, that's the first point of contention where things start to go downhill. Next, we get our pigs Napoleon and Snowball. So Napoleon's notably, like, he's the antagonist of the book, and he's a notably special character because he's the only one of the animals that has, like, a human name. It's like all the other animals are like Snowball, Squealer, Boxer, Molly, you know, like animal names, very traditionally. So Napoleon is like very much a joke on leading a Napoleonic lifestyle, and it's just not good for the other animals, and that's your first hint that things are going to go wrong for everyone else. And he starts changing the rules a bit. He starts messing everything up for everyone else. It's just like, he starts sleeping in the farmer's house with the other pigs. And it's like, the other animals go, didn't we make a rule? Wasn't the fourth commandment that no animal should sleep in a bed? And he's got the benefit of a keener mind and an education because the pigs are notably smarter than the other animals. Because they represent the government and the animals are like the common man, you know? And so they're like, no, we didn't say we wouldn't sleep in a bed. Look at the wall. You can read, or get one of the animals that can read. And they go over, and by the time they've noticed it, it's already been changed. It's not no animal shall sleep in a bed. It's no animal shall sleep in a bed without sheets. So they're like, you know, like a hay stall is a bed, my guy. Like, you know, everything is a bed, you know. As long as we don't have sheets, that's the human part, to have sheets. And the other animals are like, oh, I guess that makes sense. I must have been misremembering. And this is very much on the parody of if you control the media, you control the masses. So don't forget, like, people, like, cause this is a parody of real life in a sense, or like a warning. So it's not entirely comedic in its tone in this book. But a lot of it does have like parodies of real life. So there's some humor in it, in its lines. But now, like, you've got the media to control the masses, and it just goes further downhill from the animals from here. And soon, within a year, they start working entirely for the pigs. They get hit for the pigs like they did with Farmer Jones. They get underfed like they did with Farmer Jones, and the eggs and the milk and everything that they work to keep is taken from them by the pigs like it was for Farmer Jones. And every time they sort of start to bring this up, you see the pigs go like, oh man, no, you know, it's like, was it really, is it bad now? Wasn't it worse under Farmer Jones? And the animals have like so much fear of how it used to be that they're not comparing how it is now is exactly the same as how it used to be, but with different, well, pigs in charge. And so they're just like, oh yeah, Farmer Jones. And Farmer Jones becomes this kind of boogeyman to them, this fear, this fable, you know? There is a lot more nuance to the writing than I'm giving you now, and I will not reveal the ending. Do the animals get freedom? Do they remain oppressed? Are they killed or sent to the slaughterhouse? Or do they fight back? Do they find a new farm? Do they go to a new home? Do they run the pigs out? Read the book. It's very short. It's like between 75 to 100 pages long, depending on the print size. It's just something that everyone really should have access to, because this book was a warning. It was like a foreboding, a foretelling. Which brings us to why George Orwell would write something like this. Like, why did he ever bring this story into the world? So this story is meant to represent the parallels of the Soviet Union and how a good idea can turn into something bad really quickly. All right. So George Orwell, above all, hated Stalin. You know, he hated Joseph Stalin. And so Napoleon the pig is Joseph Stalin, all right? And then you have Snowball the pig, who is his opposition. And that was, sorry, I've got it in my notes here. I shouldn't need to check these, but I do. Leon Trotsky. So Leon Trotsky was a socialist, notably the first socialist that we may know of. I'm sure there's been socialists before them, but maybe without the name attached. And after the revolution in Russia against Tsar Nicholas II, I believe, my history's a little off. So what you had Leon Trotsky going, oh my gosh, now we freed the common people and we can share everything and everything's great for us. And we can share the revolution with the rest of the world, because if we tell them how they're oppressed, they can fight against their oppressors too, and we'll start like socialism everywhere. And instead, you had Joseph Stalin going, okay, these people have been freed. If I can make it look better than it was, I can take everything. And also, I don't want to free the rest of the world because I don't want them to ever see that the country that I'm going to create is flawed, that the Soviet Union that I'm going to create is going to be worse than it was. How did he do this? He did this the very same way that the animals on the farm did. It's very much an education by reading. He did it by overworking the common masses, controlling the media, like I said, getting rid of his opposition. So much like Snowball the pig is exiled off the farm in Animal Farm, Leon Trotsky was exiled from the Soviet Union during Stalin's reign. So if you can get rid of the opposition, you can go, oh, no, I'm not getting rid of the opposition. He was working against us. All of those good ideas, those were my ideas. Isn't that brilliant? It's like, were they your ideas? It's like, yes, they were originally my ideas. I know he said them first, but he stole them from me. And I knew if I said that he stole them from me, you wouldn't believe me, my comrades, you know? And that is very much the narrative that Napoleon the Pig gives in this novella, I should say. So it's just this like fantastic little story that I feel like everyone should read and go in for. It's like very much humans who are ignorant or stupid or lack the education, moreover, are prisoners to those who control the education system. And by the time we realized that we were uneducated or ignorant of our situation, it's already too late to change the situation, because by that time standardized education is coming to the system. This happens in Animal Farm when they build the school and only the pigs can attend. Another comparable example in media would be in Avatar: The Last Airbender, for anyone who's a fan of that show, which is a banger, so I don't blame you. And Aang goes to the Fire Nation and all the students are in class going, yes, and we beat the Air Nation with, like, Air Nation army. And Aang's like, there was no Air Nation army. And the teacher, who's already been taught this, because, like, it's been a long time, 100 years, is like, yes, there was. And the students are like, yes, there was an Air Nation army. He's like, well, no, but there was. And he's like, why, were you there? Because the Fire Nation was there, and you can't have been there. And we've been told there was an Air Nation army. So there was an Air Nation army, you know? So if you have standardized education and, again, control the media, that's it. And again, I keep harping on about controlling the media because in the 1920s to the 1930s, this was the very first time in human history that this was happening, that you had leaders like Hitler and Stalin who had the power to blanket what the media was saying, going, no, I don't want that news story out. So, like, they were controlling the narrative for the very first time, and that really scared George Orwell. Like, he was very angry about it, and so he wrote this novel. You can feel the anger in his words as he tries to educate people. Which brings us to another point, where I say that in the title of this book, it is not just Animal Farm, but if you look inside the first page, it's very small typeface, but it's Animal Farm, a fairy story. The reason that George Orwell supposedly did this was because he was afraid if he said, oh, Animal Farm, a commentary on the politics of the world, people wouldn't read that. So instead, he's kind of misleading the audience. It's a misnomer, if you will. And he's going, yeah, Animal Farm, a fairy story. Come, take a break from the war and the war efforts. You know, you must be tired. You don't have time to read a full novel. Come on, just read this nice little story about animals on a farm and, like, how they live life and how if they only knew their own power, they could be free from their oppressors. Oh, isn't it nice? And then slowly he's educating people. So for children, this is just a fable, but for adults with even the slightest inkling of political knowledge, it was a way going, oh my god, we shouldn't be idolizing Stalin. We shouldn't be considering teaming up with him against Hitler. We shouldn't want to be around him. You've heard of, like, stories that are love letters to people, to concepts, to art. And this one is very much Hitler. It's a big F you, Stalin. I will watch you die and I will take you down one step at a time. So it's, like, really interesting if you're interested in any kind of politics, or even if you're not and it's just you want to read it for a, like, story and you want to get in, like, you fall in love with, like, Boxer the horse, whose personal motto is, I must work harder. And you kind of gotta fall in love with like there's a very cranky donkey on the farm, and he's like, everyone's like, why are you unhappy? We've just got rid of the farmer, and all he ever says is, donkeys live a very long time. There's a very sweet horse as well called Molly, and she's only interested in looking pretty and being fed sugar cubes, and she's a bit of an airhead, and she's kind of a sad lost cause. But at the same time, you kind of can't help relating to her and wanting her to be happy, wanting her to like just get the ending she feels that she deserves, because she's a bit of a spoilt one, I'll be honest, but still. There's all these characters that you just can't help falling in love with. Even Snowball, whose idealism might be a bit misplaced, he's still trying to build this wonderful community for his friends, for his family. And so I really feel like everyone at some point should read Animal Farm. Alright, so there's my little 2 cents on this. I'm sure I've missed something. I got really excited. I was trying to do this in one take. I don't have any professional recording equipment, as you can see. I can't even look in the center of the camera. I'm looking this way, I know I am. Because that's where my face is. I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm over here. But no, it's over there that I should be seeing. But this is my first recording of the new year. Of course, this will come out much later when I've got a little bit of a backlog of these. But I will end it here and just hope you have a nice day. Alright, bye everyone.